we are vulnerable. We are not out here as, we're not dangerous, we're not weapons, we are vulnerable. Normally, this is about the, traffic violence, but right now it's about federal violence.
A weekend full of demonstrations, including a signature Portland protest, a naked bike ride. All that while we continue to wait for the latest ruling on whether the Trump administration can deploy the National Guard to the city.
And celebrations are underway in Tel Aviv after Israeli hostages were released earlier this morning. The latest in the ceasefire agreement, plus what President Trump had to say at his address in Egypt.
We're also talking this morning about the Broadway Bridge closure. Closure starts now. It lasts for 6 months. Sunrise reporter Devin Haskins is going to join us live here with more on what you can expect for your downtown commute. Sunrise, streaming live at 7 o'clock, starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Before we get to Rod and Chris with weather and traffic, we do want to show you this video. This was Longview yesterday. Incredible video that we've been sharing all morning. Strong winds ripping the roof right off that building, sending it into the street. A meteorologist with the National Weather Service says wind speeds at the time were between 80 and 85 miles an hour.
And Rod, we're following that weather event as well as snow in the Cascades.
That was not just a meteorologist, the meteorologist in charge, Tanya, was up there yesterday. We're going to hear from her later in the show with her damage assessment of what caused those winds in the 3 o'clock hour up in Longview yesterday. All right, right now we're watching rain creep back into parts of the valley. Here it is. In Salem, you're dry, but you could get some of that rain in the coming hour or so as well. One of our headlines, the first big snow of the season up at Timberline, 11 inches on the ground. Meadows the same. And for the first time this season, there's a little bit of snow at pass level as well. Chris has been watching those roadways for you. Here's Salem, mainly cloudy skies with the threat of rain looming off to your east this morning. And still a lot of clouds over downtown Portland. We're at 43 degrees. So to the bus stop we go. Saying mainly dry out the door in the Portland area. Not willing to say the rain chances are completely over yet, but by noon it will be over. We'll be sunny in 52. There's going to be a cool east wind picking up and gusting out of the gorge. Kids get out of school sunny, windy, and the usual east wind spots, and about 59. Here is Chris.
After a couple days of rain, it'll be nice to see some sun. All right, let's get you out the door. We've got the brake lights here, riding them pretty hard, coming down the hill from the zoo into the Visitors Tunnel. There's a live look right now at Highway 26, so that's getting a little bit busier. Door number 1 takes us to Clark County. Your I-5 South Drive now slow and steady at the Interstate Bridge. Right now, that trip in from Main Street down to the Fremont Bridge, not all that bad at last check, about 10 minutes or so. Heads up, we've been talking about this throughout the morning. The Broadway Bridge 6-month closure started in the wee hours of this morning. Devin Haskins is live in North Portland with more. Are folks navigating around that closure right now, or are they just driving right up on it and saying, what happened?
They got it pretty marked off, pretty well marked off. So you can drive up to the bridge, but you're going to be funneled either into a turn lane going one way or the other. So you will have to change your morning commute. And this morning's commute, one of the big tests for this 6-month closure, as more than 19,000 cars take the Broadway Bridge each day, which means those cars are going to have to find another way across the river. So let's talk about that closure. Part of a $28 million deck replacement project, the county's replacing the driving surface of the bridge. They say they installed it 20 years ago, and the county says it has lived its life, and instead of patching it, they say it needs replaced. They'll also replace a small section of the deck at a time to keep the bridge balanced and open to river traffic. It'll be closed off to all vehicles, buses, and the Portland streetcar till April, although the south sidewalk will stay open most of the time for people walking or biking. Now, if you take the streetcar across, there's some detours with that, and TriMet buses. The streetcar will detour across the Tillicum crossing, and TriMet's bus line 17 will detour over the Steel Bridge. Again, plenty of options to get across the bridge, but always pay attention to the traffic reports, as well as just giving yourself a little more extra time, because again, all those cars that usually take the Broadway are going to have to find other ways across. This bridge is expected to be closed until April 11th. Back to you.
Thank you, Devin. All right, this is what the South Portland ICE facility looked like earlier this morning. No one out there. Portland police say they didn't make any arrests last night at or near the ICE facility.
There were more protests over the weekend, though, in response to the possible deployment of the National Guard to Portland and the ongoing work of ICE in the city. The weekend protests included what was described as an emergency world naked bike ride. Here's KGW's John Adams with more.
Music, costumes, and more outside the ice facility in Portland on Sunday as people came out to make their voices heard.
Love brings more love. Hate brings more hate. We're here to bring the love.
River Montijo is an organizer with the Portland Raging Grannies, a social justice group that supports immigrant and racial justice.
We came down here to sing peacefully, to show ICE and the federal government that we are not rioting, we are not being dangerous, we're just speaking our mind.
Also in attendance, a local brass band dressed as bananas.
What's going on over here at the ICE building is clearly not terrorism, right? I mean, anybody can see this.
Band leader Miles Thompson explains the reasoning behind the costumes.
I think that helps us fight this kind of fascist narrative of everything's burning down and we need to bring in the military.
We also spoke with Holly Brown, who was pulled into the facility and detained during a protest 1 week ago after crossing onto the facility's property.
And I'm out here to show them that we're not afraid and we're going to keep coming out until we get this building shut down, we get ICE out of Portland.
Rain showers didn't stop participants in an emergency World Naked bike ride from passing by the facility. Organizers say the ride is meant to push back on the possible militarization of Portland. John Adams, KGW News.
Meantime, we're continuing to wait for a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on whether President Donald Trump is allowed to deploy National Guard troops to Portland. And across the country, the Seventh Circuit Court's appeals ruled that members of the National Guard in Illinois can now remain federalized but cannot be deployed in the state while the appeals process continues to play out.
Staying the part about nationalization, but not staying the TRO as it relates to deployment is sort of the middle ground. If they were to stay the TRO completely, then that means the troops could be deployed right away.
And this comes after district judges in Portland and Chicago both issued temporary restraining orders blocking the federalization and deployment of National Guard troops.
Oregon and Washington are part of a group of states joining Illinois in its legal battle to stop the National Guard's deployment to Chicago. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield and Washington Attorney General Nick Brown, along with nearly 24 other AGs around the country, filed a brief in the Seventh Court of Appeals arguing that the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard members to Chicago is against the law.
A former Westland doctor turned himself into the Clackamas County Jail after a grand jury indicted him on sex abuse charges. During his first court appearance last week, David Farley pleaded not guilty. Multiple women have accused Farley for years of unwanted sexual contact during what should have been routine doctor exams. The judge set Farley's bail at $500,000. Clergy members in the state of Washington may not have to report allegations of child sex abuse if they learn about them in confession or the equivalent of confession in other faiths. A new state law aimed to make it mandatory for Catholic priests and other faith leaders to report allegations of child sex abuse regardless of where they heard it. But under a new agreement, they would only have to report those allegations if they're heard or discussed outside of confession. This new exception still has to be approved in court. All right, your time now is 7:08. We are looking at the Timberline Lodge sky cam. The sun is coming. You can't see it, but there is a lot of snow out there this morning, Rod.
Yeah, 11 inches of it on the ground. Temperatures in the 20s. Chris is coming up right after me, and he's going to have a look at the Cascade pass conditions. Generally, last time I looked anyway, they were okay, but Chris will have the update visually for you. Here's the radar, and if I put my hand right here, I'm not guaranteeing this yet, but it really looks like the rain chance has ended for areas from downtown Portland and to the north, meaning a dry day moving forward. But still some rain nipping down around Canby. And then you've still got this rain off to the east of Salem that is trying to push back toward I-5. This is the last of the lingering precipitation. All of it will drop out of our region as we go completely dry here later this morning. Clouds over the city of Salem where you are eyeing that rain trying to come your way from the east. 42 is your temperature. Pretty shot of some breaks in cloud cover from the Wells Fargo building this morning. We're at 43. Winds northwest at 3. The winds will quickly, and I do mean quickly, kick to the east later this morning. And by noon, the usual spots could be looking at 10 to 20, 25 mile per hour winds of gusts along the Columbia River, 30 to 40 miles per hour this afternoon. So this is going to be a day of rapid transition with the clearing skies taking hold. 40s right now. We'll get up to about 60 degrees at 5 o'clock. Here are the temperatures. Still some 30s. Yeah, Battleground 39, Hillsboro 38. It's a cool morning. It's 38 in Estacada, 39 in Silverton, and 42 in our capital city and also out into Dallas. Later today, sticking with the chilly theme. Upper 40s at 4 o'clock in John Day and Baker City, a lingering shower chance out east and mainly south of Eugene and up into central Oregon. But we will see clearing skies down through Salem and Albany as we get into the afternoon hours. So sun is coming, east winds are coming, a high of 61. All clear the next couple of days. Chilly nights. If you don't get the east wind, you'll be in the 30s the next couple of nights. Our next rain chance is Thursday going into Friday. And now here is Chris with that look at the Cascade Pass.
Yeah, let's take you up there. This is Highway 26 at Government Camp. And now that we've got the light of day, Rod, you can see a little slush on the road. This is, by the way, Timberline Highway. So the road that goes from Government Camp at 4,000 feet then on up to Timberline itself, where, of course, Rod mentioned they got 11 inches of snow over the weekend. A little higher up, this is Bennett Pass, or near Bennett Pass in Mount Hood Meadows Drive on Highway 35. The higher up you go, the more snow coverage there is. And looking down at the Santiam Pass, right, Highway 20 that goes through Central Oregon, that is snow covered this morning. So be aware of that if you're heading to and from Central Oregon. Back to the Banfield, something's hanging up the drive here just inside the Hollywood district. It looks like we got a fender bender just out of the range of our camera. So the drive's a little slow on that side of town, starting to back up out towards Providence Medical Center. A reminder, by the way, for folks that ride TriMet to and from PDX, the red line is disrupted all this week as they do some East Side Max Line improvements. TriMet's using shuttle buses to serve all stations between Gateway and PDX China. That'll be throughout the week, so expect some extra time for that part of your commute.
Thank you, Chris. Still to come on Sunrise, the latest on a powerful storm hitting the East Coast, causing flooding and water rescues, plus celebrations underway in Tel Aviv after Israeli hostages were released earlier this morning. The latest in the ceasefire agreement, plus what President Trump had to say at his address in Egypt. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Some regions of the U.S. are coping with dangerous weather today. People over on the East Coast are being hit with a powerful nor'easter, which is causing flooding, water rescues, and major flight delays. Amy Kiley has the latest.
A powerful and dangerous nor'easter is slamming Atlantic states today. It's a cyclonic storm with northeast winds that push water toward the coast.
The tidal flooding is the main concern.
Authorities report numerous water rescues in the Carolinas yesterday. Today, forecasters say mid-Atlantic and New England coastlines are in danger. The National Weather Service says flood risks in some areas will remain for days.
I wanted to see how high the water was, and it's higher than I expected already.
Delaware says it's activating its National Guard. Atlantic City, New Jersey could see the highest water levels since Hurricane Sandy. The area is more secure than it was during that infamous storm, thanks to millions of dollars of improvements.
Nowadays, it's everybody's preparing for the worst and kind of hoping for the best, which is, I guess, really the best way to prepare for it.
The nor'easter is causing numerous travel issues. FlightAware reports more than 7,000 flight delays yesterday. It says airports in New York and Boston were hardest hit. The nor'easter also is bringing powerful winds. Meteorologists say they topped 50 miles per hour yesterday in parts of Delaware, North Carolina, New Jersey, Maryland, and Virginia.
There are some big gusts coming through, so just the chance for some isolated power outages as well.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
All right, Rod Hill back into our studio here this morning. Lots to cover from a weather perspective.
Yeah, we got the big snow, the first snow of substantial amounts up at the resorts. It's down to 5,000 feet, 11 inches on the ground. And the other big story was, of course, the wind that we had up in Cowlitz County and Longview, and also down in La Center in the 3 o'clock hour yesterday afternoon. La Center, let me back up, didn't have any wind, but did have a funnel cloud spotted. We had that roof damage up in Longview. And our other headline is on this map here. Now, the white is the winter weather advisory for Cascade snow. That will likely expire at 11 o'clock this morning as the precipitation ends. It's set to do so. The blue areas, though, frost and freeze warnings for cold nights coming tonight and again going into Wednesday morning. And another headline is the return of east winds. Now, what's crazy is how rapidly today we'll see a transition of weather. We still have some cloudiness out there this morning with some areas getting some rain. No later than before noon today, the rain chance is gone, skies will be clearing, and east winds will be popping. This shows 30 to 40 mile per hour winds at 11:30 this morning coming out of the Columbia River. And these east winds will blow tonight, they'll blow tomorrow, and then they will start to fade away on Wednesday. The next couple of nights with clear skies, if you don't get the east wind, if you lived here for a while, you know you're blocked by the east wind, you'll be in the 30s. And I'd be surprised if some areas aren't at least down to 35, 36. So we're watching that story as well. Here's what's left of the precipitation. We picked up a good half of an inch of rain over the past 24 hours on average, coast and valley. Right now you've got rain starting to toy with Salem again. This is bouncing off the Cascades, moving back to the west. This is all really light stuff. There's Milano, there's Canby, there's Aurora, Donald. This is generally near Wilsonville, but south of downtown Portland. Again, all of the rain in our region will be ending in the coming hours this morning. So clouds and wet ground you can see there from the Chehalem Tasting Room in Sherwood, what I call the barn shot, little picnic area there. Not a great morning to be doing a picnic, but it's 41 degrees out right now. 42 in Salem, 43 in Portland. Everybody's cool. For Portland, we've been down to at least 42. And it's the coolest morning we've had so far this fall season. Out east, enough cloudiness, everybody's holding above freezing, but some chilly 30s. Here's Futurecast 8 o'clock this morning, and I'll stop this at 1 o'clock. So later this morning, the moisture chance is all gone up and down the I-5 corridor. We will rapidly see clearing skies. We'll be clear tonight, clear tomorrow. Here's tomorrow morning, some cloudiness in parts of our state, but during the day tomorrow, all of Oregon expected to clear out. Valley forecast numbers get up to about 60 degrees. The sun is coming this afternoon with east winds developing. And again, the usual east wind spots, especially along the Columbia, could be looking at gusts approaching 30 to 40 miles per hour later today. So it does turn out to be a sunny afternoon. We'll be mid-60s the next couple of days, but those chilly nights on the east winds fade away Wednesday. Thursday, clouds over eventually. We get some rain Thursday night and Friday morning, a separate system on Sunday. None of these two systems look to be as big as the upper level low that gave us our rain yesterday, the mountain snow, and the wind up in Longview. Here is Chris.
Looking forward to some sunshine the next couple days after the rain. All right, let's pick it up on the Banfield 84 westbound. Something is hanging up the drive just past this camera vantage point, so it's just inside the Hollywood district approaching 28th Avenue. I don't see it, but I can certainly see the backup now that is building. This is getting out past Halsey at this point. So I-84 westbound has jumped up to about 30 minutes at last check to get you in from Troutdale. Elsewhere on the system, this is I-5 through North Portland. Not bad. Your southbound commute busy, but we've seen worse at this hour of a Monday morning drive. And there's the inbound Sunset, riding the brakes just a little bit coming down the hill from the zoo. As talked about all morning long, if you're just waking up and just joining us, if you're one of the 19,000 or so that use the Broadway Bridge, you got to find a new route. This morning, the bridge closed for 6 months as the county does some repairs. Expect extra busy commutes on the Fremont Bridge, the Steel Bridge, etc. Again, that Broadway Bridge closure already started. It's in play until April of next year. Drew?
Thank you, Chris.
After so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace.
Hostages get to return to their families after President Trump's ceasefire plan for Israel and Hamas takes effect. We have the latest on the Middle East situation in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
After more than 2 years, Israeli hostages held by Hamas are back with their families in Israel, and the first phase of President Donald Trump's peace plan is underway.
Palestinian health authorities estimate the death toll in the Gaza Strip since the war started is in the tens of thousands. President Trump addressed Israel's parliament earlier this morning, and he's expected to fly to Egypt today for a peace summit. Here's NBC's Alice Barr with more.
This morning, the first images of Israeli hostages held for 2 years in darkness and deprivation in Gaza, finally back in the light, transferred by the Red Cross to be reunited with their waiting families. In Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, Israelis cheering the moment they have prayed and protested for and chanting, "Thank you, Trump," as President Trump addressed the Knesset, Israel's legislature, celebrating the peace deal he brokered.
Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change.
He earlier declared the war is over, in contrast to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warning the military campaign is not over. Israel and Hamas have so far agreed to phase 1, the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners while the fighting pauses. Israeli forces pull back to new lines within Gaza, and desperately needed aid flows in. But thornier questions remain about Hamas disarming and leaving power, and how to govern and rebuild Gaza as Palestinians flood back to whatever remains of their homes. For now, though, an emotional release and rejoicing. This hostage family seeing their loved one first by phone, as President Trump met with some hostage families before a peace ceremony in Egypt, marking a major diplomatic achievement and long-sought relief after 2 years of devastating war. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Also, within the last hour, we've learned that Palestinian prisoners have been freed from Israeli jails as part of the ceasefire deal. So these are new photos of the freed prisoners returning to Gaza, where reports say they were greeted with cheering crowds. Here's a look at some national headlines now with your morning rush. 2 people are dead in a small plane crash near Fort Worth, Texas, Sunday morning. We want to warn you that some of the people watching this morning may find this video disturbing. It's surveillance video from a nearby business that shows the plane's wing hitting the ground before it crashes into a parking lot and explodes into flames. Again, both people on board the plane died. The FAA and NTSB are investigating the cause. Take a look at this video from Arizona. It shows flooding after a record amount of rain fell in and around the Phoenix area. Former tropical storm Raymond triggered the surge of extremely wet weather. All federal offices, including federal courts, are closed today for Columbus Day. Some states, including Oregon and Washington, recognize this day as Indigenous Peoples Day instead. Even essential offices, by the way, that are staying open through the government shutdown will be closed because of today's holiday. Lottery news, the Mega Millions jackpot up to $600 million after no one hit all the numbers in Friday night's drawing. The next drawing is set for tomorrow. This is the 11th time in Mega Millions history that the jackpot has reached at least $600 million. And that's a look at your morning rush.
It looks like part of the uncaged cycles and the Felton heating and air collapse.
Wild weather video out of Longview shows high winds ripping the roof off that building. We'll take a closer look coming up in our next half hour of Sunrise. Also at 7:30, we're talking Mariners. They won Game 1 of the American League Championship Series against the Blue Jays on Sunday. We're going to get some reaction from Mariners fans as they get set for Game 2 this afternoon. The Sunrise Show continues after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We are coming up on 7:29 on your Monday morning drive. We've got one trouble spot right now on the Banfield, westbound I-84. Looks like ODOT just moved in to get a disabled vehicle out of the way. So that's the good news. The bad news is there is some pretty significant residual delay. This is a look at I-84, again out near Hollywood, and then getting out past 82nd Avenue. So that's our big slow spot right now. 32 minutes to get you in from Troutdale to the I-5 split. Also, a reminder, in case you hadn't heard, the Broadway Bridge closed in the wee hours of this morning. It will be closed for 6 months as the county does some significant repairs to the bridge decking. Rod?
All right, thanks for that, Chris. We have some snow up at the Cascade passes, but those highways are mainly reported as wet this morning, with 11 inches above the passes up at Meadows and Timberline. This is the last bit of precipitation, and it is towing with parts of the valley. We've had some rain recently in Canby, for example. Salem, you could still get some rain yet this morning. Looks like the reserve is going to be all dry moving forward. A little bit of brightness off to the west. There's downtown Portland with clouds 53 at noon. We will become sunny today with east winds picking up and a high of 60 degrees.
7:30 on the Sunrise Show, Monday morning. What's that?
What is it? What is it?
What is that little guy?
It's a caterpillar.
It's cute. It is a caterpillar. Very good, Rod Hill.
Yes, thank you.
You get an A. We're saying move over groundhogs this morning because the caterpillar is our new winter forecaster, perhaps.
Really?
We're not going to replace you, Rob. But in the animal kingdom, here's how it works. The banded woolly bear caterpillar. Banded woolly bear caterpillar. Known for its fuzzy stripes, right? Yeah. Black on the end, brown in the middle. Yeah. Legend says the wider the brown bands, the milder the winter ahead. Wider black bands mean get ready to bundle up. So this video, I believe the caterpillar clearly has more brown than black, so perhaps this will be a milder winter. To be determined, China Green. You want to say anything to that little caterpillar guy?
Good morning.
By the way, can I get that in writing? You said I wouldn't be replaced by the caterpillar.
At least not for the next 2 weeks. That's all I can promise. 2 weeks at a time.
Until your winter forecast comes out.
Oh yeah, when is that coming out, by the way?
Well, I was at the kitchen table all weekend, literally doing it, and I will share this nugget. I think odds favor us being slightly below normal in the temperature department throughout the winter season, with most months averaging maybe a degree or so below normal.
Literally going against the caterpillar. The caterpillar just said milder winter, perhaps.
Caterpillar.
Hold my jacket, China. Hold my jacket while I take on this caterpillar fella. All right, let's get you going with the forecast. What saddens me is I think China believes the caterpillar. All right, we've got a little bit of rain still towing in parts of the valley. You can see Marion County more covered with some light rain than not, and this has moved into Salem. This has bounced off of the Cascades back to the west. I think it makes sense at the northern edge of this, which is now south of Wilsonville, that is the edge of dryness, meaning Portland done with moisture, and eventually this morning all of this moisture will be getting out of our area, and everybody, including you folks in Salem, including you folks in Albany and Corvallis, will be looking at clearing skies as early as the noon hour today. Here are the clouds over the state capitol right now. Some breaks in a mostly cloudy sky over downtown Portland. We're at 43 degrees. We'll be seeing some clearing later this morning. East winds will pick up and we'll get up to about 60 degrees. Here is Chris.
After 4 days of rain, it'll be nice to see some sun. Thank you for that, Rod. Let's go ahead and pick it up on the Banfield. We had some earlier trouble inside the Hollywood district. ODOT moved in and got that disabled vehicle out of the way. However, the drive's really thick getting out towards 82nd Avenue right now. So that's our big slow spot on the freeways right now. Your drive in from Troutdale has jumped up to 33 minutes at last check. Also, an alert from TriMet. If you're one of the thousands that uses TriMet to get to PDX, know that all this week they're doing some upgrades to the East Side Max tracks. TriMet is using shuttle buses to serve all red line stops between Gateway and PDX. Obviously, that will mean some extra time if that is part of your commute this week. China?
Thank you, Chris. All right, this is what the South Portland ICE facility looked like earlier this morning. No one out there. Portland police say that they did not make any arrests last night at or near the ICE facility.
We're still waiting for the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals to rule on whether or not President Trump can deploy the National Guard to Portland. KGW's John Adams has more on local businesses preparing for that possibility.
At Woonwinkle on Southwest Washington, owner Kristen Van Buskirk finally saw 2025 as the year her business would finally stabilize after the COVID-19 pandemic. Then came the announcement from the Trump administration that National Guard troops would be deployed to the city.
I felt completely deflated.
Van Buskirk fears troops on the streets of the Rose City could be the latest blow to businesses that have fought back after the pandemic. She has already reduced her workforce from 10 employees to just 2.
We've worked really hard to come back from that, and the whole city has worked really hard to come back from that. So to hear that the National Guard might be coming was just It was a blow. It was completely deflating.
But other business owners are seeing an opportunity in the media coverage Portland has received. Thomas Gatley, co-founder of Lone Fur Fitness in Southeast, says people are seeing videos online countering President Trump's view of the city.
My family back in the UK, and certainly friends around the country, are like, oh, Portland looks amazing. Like, it's sunny and beautiful. Like, so yeah, I think it's working out pretty well for the city.
Gatley says that his customers have expressed disappointment that the Rose City has been painted in a negative light by some politicians.
It's more just a sense of frustration, really. They're like, hey, people trying to tell us what our city's like when it's clearly nothing connected to reality.
While back on the west side, Van Buskirk points to guard deployment harming local businesses in the nation's capital.
I look to what happened in Washington, D.C. They had measurable declines in their foot traffic and restaurant reservations, and I would expect it to happen the same way here.
John Adams, KGW News.
Meanwhile, life flights to OHSU were on hold Saturday because of a flyer that reportedly called on people to shine lasers at police helicopters flying above the ICE facility. So instead of life flighting patients directly to OHSU, helicopters had to land at nearby airports and then ambulances transported patients to the hospital. OHSU says that process could add up to an hour to patient transport time. OHSU also said its helicopter vendors were choosing to avoid the airspace near the ICE facility. It wasn't the hospital's call. Portland police want to remind people that pointing lasers at planes or helicopters is against both state and federal law.
In other news this morning, we now know the identity of a woman who was found dead in her car with a gunshot wound in northwest Portland. Portland police have identified the victim as 39-year-old Crystal Pendergraph. Just after 5 o'clock Saturday evening, officers were called to a welfare check on a woman on Northwest Kearney Street and 22nd Avenue. That's where they found Pendergraph and pronounced her dead at the scene. Police are asking anyone with information to reach out.
Police are also investigating a shooting in northeast Portland near Killingsworth Street. Investigators taped off a section of Northeast 24th to keep people away from a car that was riddled with bullet holes. That's a look at the car right there. Police say officers responded to the area around 3:30 Sunday morning. They also say the victim walked themselves to a nearby hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Neighbors say this type of activity is not new to their neighborhood.
It's definitely happened a few times. The houses down there have had it happen in the last few years where somebody shot into the house and then somebody shot into a car. I've never had any issues with any houses up here.
Back when I bought my house, half the houses were boarded up and gunshots every night. Yeah.
Can you tell your kids what?
When they come stay with me, that was, what do you do when you hear gunshots? And hit the floor, Dad.
Police say they haven't arrested anyone yet and that the person who was shot is expected to survive.
Hey, check out this video from Longview showing what the National Weather Service says was likely microburst straight line winds ripping the roof off a building and sending it into the street.
A meteorologist with the Weather Service says she estimates winds were between 80 and 85 miles an hour at the time. Here's KGW's Jay Coulter with more.
It looks like part of the uncaged cycles and the Felton's heating and air collapse.
Dramatic security camera footage of wind ripping the roof off Felton's heating and air and blowing it onto uncaged cycles and into the street.
In through that upper roof over there is a big old hole, probably, I don't know, at least a 10 by 10, if not bigger. And it's just got where a beam and everything went down through it.
Looked over to my right and the roof was flying that way. It flew on top of the uncaged cycle shop over there.
Disbelief at the damage done in such a short time, but National Weather Service meteorologist Tanya Francine says this can be the time of year for this type of weather.
It's October and we tend to get a lot of these little convective storms that come through, and some tend to be stronger than others. Today we found damage that was consistent with 80 to 85 mile an hour winds.
Uncaged Cycles owner Leah Holmes recalling the moment the winds hit.
We heard what we thought was thunder. And so I came up front of the shop to just look outside and see what was going on. And I saw a 15-foot beam kind of hanging off the side of our front facade there. And then I looked down the street and saw roofing material. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is going on? So I came outside and I saw all this debris on top of my building.
Unfortunately, Holmes also lives in the Uncaged Cycles building, and the second floor took the brunt of the damage with a beam coming through the roof.
It was devastating because that is our living area. So now we're kind of figuring out what we're going to do tonight and where we're going to lay our heads down.
But Holmes grateful to her neighbors and other folks who helped clean up Sunday. 2 other buildings had some light roof damage, but thankfully no one was injured.
It was not really definitive that it was tornadic, but wind is wind. If it's damaging, somebody's impacted. It doesn't matter if it's straight or if it's spinning. So either way, there was impacts and businesses that are going to have to kind of recover from this.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
And this right here is a video of a report of a funnel cloud on I-5 in La Center just before 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, Rod.
That'd be really kind of ominous to be driving toward that. The funnel cloud, remember when they say funnel cloud, if that's the report, it means funnel object shaped cloud never touched down. Most, not always, but most of the time, and it was the case this time too, when you get a funnel cloud, you don't have any report of any wind or any real problems at ground level. That did happen during a heavy rain shower up in La Center. Both of those items were in the 3 o'clock hour. And getting back to that report from the meteorologist in charge, Tanya, that we had in the story up in Longview, straight line winds are kind of an L-shaped formation, basically. You get, and that too is just during heavy rain. You get a downdraft, boom, of strong winds that shoot straight down. And it's an organized micro burst. And when those straight winds hit the ground, they've got to do something. They hit the ground and then they shoot out this way. So it's kind of like an L and then out. And the estimate was 80 to 85 mile per hour winds, which was responsible for that roof damage there. Lots of little weather headlines. One of them, the first snow of the season that was heavy or has been heavy up in Meadows and Timberline. East Resort reporting 11, now 12 inches on the ground. And then our first sticking snow over all of the Cascade passes. So far, this is not really a travel issue. It would slow you down somewhat. This is Government Camp. It's 34 degrees and those temperatures will be rising. So the little slush on the roadways will rapidly be improving in the coming hours. You get up a little higher, Santiam, 4,700 feet, that's freezing, 30. But again, temperatures will be improving. There's a Willamette Pass of 5,000 feet, 32, 33. But again, temperatures will be improving. So I think your travel is going to be okay today over the Cascades. And for Mount Hood, the Mage Bowl snowfall is over, by the way. We have sunshine, early morning blue in Lincoln City, and we've got some brightness coming through the clouds in Vancouver from the Springs of the Waterfront camera. Temperatures are chilly, low 40s to 30s, 39 now in Happy Valley. Futurecast shows 8 o'clock this morning. We do have some rain in Salem and down around Oregon City, but later this morning and by the noon, the moisture is all gone. We will rapidly clear out. There's Meeks. Woof. I don't have time to get into Meeks, but that was his picture. And here's our weather map later today showing the sun and temperatures up to about 60 degrees. East winds will start to blow, and I'm out of time. Here's Chris McGinnis.
Let's go ahead and get you down into Marion County, if we can. Can we get to Marion County? All right, let's do that. I've got some trouble right now. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Something's hanging up the drive right now. It's just north of Chemawa. And right now we've got about a mile and a half back up there. Likely a fender bender or something that's hanging up the drive. So give yourself an extra 10 minutes or so to get through that. Back up to North Portland. This is I-5 up near Lombard. All 3 lanes slow and go coming into downtown. I-84 westbound actually moving better now than it was. We had some earlier trouble in the Hollywood district. That's out of the way, and the drive time has actually dropped back down to 27 minutes to get you in from Troutdale. Of course, one of the other big traffic headlines this morning, a 6-month closure of the Broadway Bridge. Devin Haskins is live in North Portland with more. Good morning again, Devin.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. The Broadway Bridge, as you mentioned, closed for the next several months to do some work on the top deck. We're going to zoom into the area there right now, finally getting some daylight to see what's maybe a little bit of a flurry of activity going on as the signs are up and the crews are starting to bring in the supplies during this 6-month closure. As part of a $28 million deck replacement project, the county's replacing the driving surface of the bridge. They say it was installed about 20 years ago and that it's lived its life and needs replaced. This closure will have a major impact on traffic here in Portland because about 19,000 cars cross this bridge every day. It's closed off to all vehicles, buses, and the Portland streetcar till April, although one of the sidewalks will stay open most of the time for people walking, biking, or just trying to get across on foot. On top of the usual commute traffic, big events happening at the Moda Center or the Coliseum will also mean other crossings will be much busier, like tonight when fans attend the Renee Rapp concert at Moda or tomorrow's Trailblazers game. Now, if you do take the streetcar across, there is a detour for that across the Tillicum Crossing, and TriMet's Bus Line 17 will also detour over the Steel Bridge. And Steel Bridge, one of the many bridge crossings that you can take to use your car to get across into downtown Portland. Again, this bridge closure happening, started already today, and goes until April 11th at least. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Devin.
I wanted to feel the environment. I wanted to feel the fans so much more than sitting at home and watching it, you know?
Yeah, fans gathered together to watch the Mariners continue their playoff run on the road yesterday. More fan reaction to the M's huge win in Game 1 of the American League Championship Series when Sunrise continues after this.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Run game. Polanco chops it right side and through, and Jorge Polanco has delivered again. 3-1 Seattle.
The Mariners are 3 wins away from their first ever trip to the World Series. They won Game 1 of the American League Championship Series last night in Toronto, beating the Blue Jays 3-1.
Our sister station in Seattle talked to some Mariner fans who made the long journey to cheer them on.
I wanted to feel the environment. I wanted to feel the fans so much more than sitting at home and watching it, you know?
But watching games like these unfold can make your heart race.
Refresh, trying to get tickets.
Almost as much as the process of trying to nab tickets for an ALCS game in Seattle.
We actually got tickets.
I'm so happy for you. Hopefully you didn't get ripped off or anything too bad.
No. It was face value, so we're good.
Lonnie Valdez says this moment in Mariners history inspires nostalgia.
I was probably like middle school, high school, a kid when the last time this happened. So it's just amazing.
Then there's the locals who have been fans their whole lives but have never seen this happen, like UW student Peter Johns.
My whole life. I've been alive for 21 years. I've been a Mariners fan for 21 years.
While a postseason series like this comes with big risk.
If we lose here, I'm going to be more heartbroken than maybe my whole life.
The games also can come with big reward.
I'm going crazy. There might not be a bigger moment of my life.
I love it. Let's assume he's not married and didn't have a marvelous wedding ceremony.
Those things should rank ahead, right? Well, listen, here's the bottom line. Game 2 of the ALCS is this afternoon, so you don't have to wait long to watch the M's play again. Again, it's Game 2 in Toronto.
Yes, Mariners, exciting.
3 wins away from a first ever appearance in the World Series.
Ever.
That would be huge. All right, I start with a cold weather map of warnings and advisories, if you will. Frost advisory. These are for overnight tonight into Tuesday morning. They'll be up again, I believe, going into Wednesday morning. Some freeze warnings out east. The white is the snow, basically a snow advisory for the Cascades, but that is winding down. It will expire at 11 o'clock this morning. Looks like measurable snowfall in the Mount Hood area around Mount Hood has already ended. So we're tracking precipitation, still some in the valley, but all that will be ending in the coming hours this morning. By noon, we're clearing, and by noon, we think east winds start to blow. So at 11:30 this morning, I mean, winds are light right now, but this shows a rapid pickup of gusts around 30 to 35 miles per hour along the Columbia River, and east wind direction being dominant all the way off of the coast. Again, this is just hours away. This is 11:30 this morning. Then those gusty east winds, it could hit 40 mile per hour pops, will continue into the day on Tuesday. And here's what's left of the moisture from the low that dumped about a half of an inch of rain on average at the coast and the valley. This is rain that we tracked earlier this morning over the Cascades. It has moved back to the west into Salem as we thought it might. And this looks to be the northern edge of the rain. So let's say Canby, Wilsonville's the dry line, and everything to the south will continue to drop to the south and fizzle out. So I think Portland is done with moisture this morning. There's Aurora, Woodburn, Beaver Creek, Molalla getting just a touch of some light rain. Again, all of that clears out in the coming hours this morning. Portland mainly cloudy right now. Temperature at the airport's 43 degrees. Low 40s in Kelso and Salem, 37 over in Bend. Everybody's above freezing because of cloudiness at this hour. Burns 37, Baker City 39. Futurecast, here we are. This is correct, by the way. It means that the modeling has a good handle on what's actually happening right now. At 8 o'clock, it shows that rain down around the Salem area. By noon, boom, it's gone. It fizzles, it drops to the south, and just like that in the valley, we get clearing skies to take hold. Valley forecast numbers with the afternoon sun and the northeast winds coming will warm up to about 60 or 62. Similar situation up in the southwest Washington. A reminder, around the Columbia River, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts look to be possible. Overall, it's a cool day in our state. Go out east to John Day, where it's only going to be 48 degrees projected at 4 p.m. this afternoon. There's a lingering chance of some shower activity across parts of eastern Oregon, also in southern Oregon, and then areas south of Eugene. In the valley, we clear out, and the coast will clear out. Here's the 7-day forecast. 61 today with afternoon sun and east winds coming. If you don't get the east wind, if you're blocked by east wind, you'll be in the 30s the next couple of nights. We're going to have chilly nights. We stay dry into Thursday. We have some rain coming Thursday overnight into Friday. A second system bringing us some rain on Sunday. And that is your forecast. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thanks for that. Let's take it to Washington County in the Beaverton area, actually. We've got a crash now in southwest Farmington near Menlo. And right now it looks like traffic is starting to back up pretty significantly on eastbound Farmington around that. So just be aware of that as you make your way out the door. Also in Marion County, northbound I-5. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Possibly a crash. North of the Chemawa area. And right now, our speed sensors show there's about a 2-mile stretch of freeway that's moving along at about 6 miles an hour. So a slow drive on that stretch of I-5. Back up high, of course, Rod talked about the snow in the Cascade passes. This is live in Government Camp. Just be aware there's a little slush up there this morning. The rest of our drive, not bad, but it is building. Here's a quick check of the sunset. Your inbound Highway 26 commute, 26 minutes to get you in from Hillsborough to downtown. China?
Thank you, Chris. Legacy Good Samaritan is celebrating a huge milestone this year. Coming up, how the hospital has changed in the last 150 years.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
I apologize in advance if you're waking up seeing this and thinking, did I wake up in December? No, we're not at the holiday season just yet, but we do need to get the call out right now to have people join us for this year's Great Toy Drive. Now is the time to sign up to be a collection site this year. Very easy to do. Just hop online, go to kgw.com/toy, and when you sign up, we will send you the official KGW Great Toy Drive Collection Kit.
Last week, Legacy Good Samaritan Medical Center held a ceremony in honor of the hospital's 150th anniversary. The event featured the mayor declaring October 9th, 2025 as a day to recognize the hospital's contributions to Portland. We heard from workers who shared the personal connections that they have with the hospital.
I started working here in 2008 and often came out to this healing garden to take my breaks. And one day I was sitting on a bench out here and noticed that the placard said Helen Todd, 1885 to 1995. And that is actually my great-grandmother. So I did not know that she had a placard and a bench here, but she also was a resident at the Bishop Morris nursing facility that's connected with Legacy Good Sam. So it feels very much like a special connection.
The hospital started with 50 beds and 5 staff members, and today there's 220 beds with more than 2,000 staff treating thousands each year. Coming up at 8, Taylor Swift makes another big announcement. What her new docuseries coming to Disney Plus will focus on, and the guest stars that could appear. But first,
I felt completely deflated.
Local business owners talk about the possibility of National Guard troops deploying to Portland and the impact that could have on their businesses. We're going to have that story for you coming up in the 8 o'clock hour of Sunrise.